So welcome to another video. We're in the studio tonight and I'm going to share with you turkey hunting. The good and the bad and the ugly is the title of this video. But first I want to field a question from a subscriber. Subscriber has a YouTube channel called Rusty Reel. He's a West Coast saltwater fisherman. He's got a YouTube channel. If you like to fish saltwater, I'd look him up and check him out. He's got a good little YouTube channel going, and I subscribe to it. And I really appreciate Rusty Reel and what they're doing. And he came on and asked me a question. He says he wants to get started in hunting. And the question that he asked me was, is there a shotgun that I could buy that I could use for duck hunting and turkey hunting? Well, I'm not a duck hunting expert. I'm not even a turkey hunting expert, but I do know a little here and a little there, so I'm going to try and field that question. So the thing that makes a shotgun, that's this here. This is my turkey gun, okay? It's a Remington model 1187. It's an automatic 12 gauge with a 3-inch magnum chamber, okay? And I like this gun. It's a great shotgun, but the thing that makes this shotgun a turkey gun is the choke tube in the end of the barrel, okay? That choke tube is a Rhino choke tube, and I had it custom made for this gun. I left the gun with the gunsmith, and they machined a choke tube that would perform best with this gun, okay? And that's what makes this gun a turkey gun. Now, you can take this choke tube, and you can unscrew it, right? You can unscrew this choke tube, and you can put in a regular full choke instead of an extra full that you would use for turkey hunting. You use an extra full choke for turkey hunting, or a full choke for duck hunting, or modified or improved cylinder, whatever your fancy is, okay? But what gives this truck versatility is the ability to change out the choke, all right, in the end of the gun and use it for another application. The fact that this gun is a Remington doesn't make it a turkey gun or a duck gun. The fact that this is an automatic does not make this gun a turkey gun and a duck gun. It is and only is the choke tube in the end. Now, if I were shopping for a shotgun and I wanted one that I could use for quail hunting, squirrel hunting, duck hunting, and turkey hunting, I would find a shotgun that you could change out the choke tubes in the end, okay? And I wouldn't buy a gun that had a fixed choke tube. Back in the day, you used to put a poly choke. I have an Ithaca Model 37, has a poly choke on the end of it. It's all locked up and froze up in the full choke position. It no longer functions because it got rusty. But yeah, that's what makes this gun either a turkey gun or a duck gun, is the choke tube. And having a shotgun that you can interchange the chokes is to your advantage. One shotgun, multi-purpose, okay? The thing about marketing in today's society is you think you got to have a particular product to do a certain function, and you don't, okay? Man, I come from a school of you kind of go with what you have, right? And I bought my first shotgun off the used gun rack at A&W Peterson Gun Shop. It was a Brazilian-made double-barrel shotgun, and I hunted with that shotgun for a lot of years. I killed my first deer with that old shotgun, and I don't know what happened to it. I think my brother got a hold of it and borrowed it or something, and his wife took it to the pawn shop. I don't know what happened to it, but it's gone, and that's okay. That's life, right? I think I owed my brother for a rifle that I had lost that belonged to him. So we're even Steven as always. So that's the shotgun. That's the answer to your question there, Rusty Reel. Go out and find yourself a shotgun, whether it be a pump, automatic, or even a double barrel. I mean, a double barrel has got a full choke and an improved cylinder one on each side. The big issue that I have with turkey guns is up to the hunter to know the effective range of a shotgun, right? If you can only throw a pattern out at 30 yards where you have no business shooting a turkey that's further away than 30 yards, you got to know you got to know the effective range of your shotgun, okay? So get out there and shoot your shotgun. I hope this helps. I hope this answers your question, all right? So today's video is entitled Turkey Hunting, or Turkey Hunts, all right? The good and the bad and the ugly. All right, so we had the spring turkey extravaganza, and I had a youngster come to my table, and he was a subscriber and wanted a copy of my book, and we talked a little bit about turkey hunting, and a fine young feller, and I was really impressed with his manners and his ability to communicate what he wanted to say, and it was just a real pleasurable experience talking to him. And then as the conversation grew, he asked me, now, what turkey call should I buy? And I know this 16-year-old, he probably is not carrying around $100 in his pocket. He's probably got a limited amount of money. And I told him to go see Scott Ellis. Scott Ellis has HuntQuest. Scott had his table set up next to mine, and Scott was selling diaphragm calls for $10 each. I told that young man, I said, now if you learn to master the diaphragm call, this will be to your advantage. Diaphragm calls are cheap. You buy an expensive box call or an expensive slate call, man, it can really put a hurting on your wallet, right? Especially those custom-made ones. They're nice to have, but a 16-year-old trying to learn how to turkey hunt, well, that can be a tough order. And throughout the whole experience of talking to guys that have high expectations for their turkey hunts, I don't want to be guilty of misleading you. Opportunity for a turkey hunt and to kill a turkey are there, but the opportunities that you get to kill a bird are going to be far and few between. I don't want to make it sound like it's going to be an impossible task, but at the same time I want to be realistic. If you hunt this season for turkeys, if you go turkey hunting on public land, and you hear a gobble, and you're able to call that bird in and shoot it, well, I would wager to guess that that's probably going to be the one and only chance that you might get, especially if you hunt only one day a week. If you hunt just one day a week, you'll be lucky, all right, to call in a bird and kill it. You're a pretty good turkey hunter if you're able to get that done. Now, some guys will get it done in one day. Some guys will kill a bird on opening weekend on public land. But it won't be the majority of hunters. It's going to be a tough order to fill. You'll need opportunity. You'll need to create opportunity. And that only comes by hunting, and hunting a lot. A minimum, okay? Realistically, a minimum would be 2 hunts a week for, I guess there's 5 weekends. That's 4 weeks. Okay, you'll need to go twice a week. I would advise you to go on a weekday if you could, and go when most people aren't hunting, and make sure that you hunt the last week. Okay, I'm just putting that out there. You hunt the last week if you can get out there, and get yourself a gobbler. But make no mistake about it. Keep your expectations low. And just go with the attitude that I'm going to go and see what this place gives me. I'm going to see what experience is coming my way. And if I don't get a turkey, well, maybe next time, okay? I want to be real about this. I don't want to tell a young fella, all you got to do is buy this call and blow on it and they're going to come running, because I don't think he believes that. But I want to keep expectations real, okay? Now that brings me to the ugliest hunt I ever had. I'm going to share with you a story. The ugliest hunt I ever had, me and my buddy Cliff both had quota permits for Hopkins Prairie up in the Ocala National Forest. I suppose it was, it'd probably be 15 years ago, maybe longer. I've been in this house 18, and I think we probably did that hunt before I moved in this house. So it would be almost 20 years ago that Cliff and I went up, and I had scouted and found some tracks, and it was in the prairie itself of Hopkins Prairie. I had found a place to park that basically only one vehicle could fit in that parking area. There was a small trail that led down to the main area, which is called Hopkins Prairie, the prairie itself. And all of the tracks and signs that I saw was in the big pine trees We're going to call that the east side of the prairie, and we set up on the west side because it was closer, okay? So we just got up there before daylight, and I found my spot to park, and there was nobody else there, and everything was looking good. We eased down that trail, and we found a spot to set up, and the sun was coming up on the horizon. I put out some decoys, and when the sun came up, I slowly and softly began to call, and sure enough, gobbles erupted on the other side of that prairie. There were 3 different birds over there gobbling. And right after pitch down, somebody shot a bird over there. We heard them shoot, but we hung tight and we stayed where we were and continued to call. And sure enough, those other birds, they started gobbling again, and one started coming along the edge of the timberline headed to us. And I don't know, it was probably a 30-minute delay from the time the bird started the gobbling before he got really, really close. And I began to realize that that bird was coming. All right, there's always that moment when you realize that that bird is going to be coming in, and you're going to get an opportunity to shoot that bird. Well, in the middle of that hunt, in the middle of that moment, we heard another caller. He called to those birds, or to that bird, and suddenly our gobbler shut up. We realized that something had gone horribly wrong with our hunt, and it involved another hunter. All right. What had happened was the hunter had seen where my truck was parked. I don't know if he scouted out that spot and was planning on hunting there, or he just happened to see my truck. But he pulled in right next to my truck, got out, broad daylight, okay? Turkey's gobbling on the prairie. We're down there hunting. He walks down the same exact trail. He had to see our footprints, and pops out in the wide open prairie, obviously calls to our bird. Our bird sees him. Hunt is over. He must have realized he made a pretty big mistake, because he hightailed it out of there faster than a gobbler running from a coyote. We realized that the hunt was over, and we went back and we saw that the footprints where he came out onto the prairie and walked down the same trail that we did. We saw his tire tracks where he pulled in right next to my truck and walked down into the prairie. And that was probably the ugliest hunt, as far as the good and the bad and the ugly, that I ever experienced. And it was because of the inconsiderate nature of another hunter, okay? The inconsiderate actions of another hunter. I would counsel you and counsel myself. Now, I was hunting in Farless Prairie one year, and I accidentally bumped into another hunter, and I felt pretty bad about it. And I actually ended up killing a bird. There was a bird gobbling down on the prairie, and I made my way through the trees and set up, and then I heard him calling, and I decided, well, I probably should get up and leave, and the turkeys were gobbling, and he was down there calling. And then on the way back, I took a different route and realized that his truck was parked there. It was all dark and everything, so yeah, I stumbled onto him. I mean, it happens, right? And I went to another spot, and I killed a jake. So yeah, I mean, you know, it happens, but this is why I always say, you know, we need to learn to avoid other hunters at all costs. There's no turkey worth ruining somebody else's hunt over. There's no turkey worth ruining my hunt or ruining your hunt. So today's message is to be mindful of other hunters. Be mindful of your setup and where you're setting up and how other hunters may relate to where you are. Can they come in from the other side? Is there a road behind where you're hunting? That's the problem with Richland, man. There are roads everywhere. You really need to do your homework. You really need to know what's behind where you're hunting. Will other hunters come in from the other way? And just be mindful and careful of that process, okay, of where you set up. So I'm going to be going scouting one day this week. I'm going to go and scout down in the Richland Wildlife Management. All I've done, you know, people ask me, how do you find your spots? Well, I just pick a spot, okay? I pick a spot, and then I branch out from there and learn the areas. I'm going to access those woods a certain way. I'm going to go out and I'm going to look on the computer at aerial photos, and then I'm going to scout on the ground, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to look on the aerial photos again, and I'm going to get a real feel for the area. turkeys can show up anywhere, okay? And they can show up at any time during the spring gobbler season. You can go in there one week and there'll be no birds there. You can go back in there the following week and there'll be 3. So keep that in mind. And again, I talked to a lot of guys at the spring turkey extravaganza, and they're all fired up. And I got to thinking, man, I hope I am not getting these guys set up for disappointment, because turkey hunting is full of disappointment. As I learned last year, one encounter, one turkey I was able to call in, and I wasn't able to harvest that bird. It was a tough lesson, but guess what? I learned a little bit from it. I'm going to grow, and I'm going to go back, and I'm going to hunt some more, and maybe I'll get my bird this year. Maybe I won't, but I'm going to give it a good effort, and I'm going to see what the place gives me. I'm going to see what kind of experience is waiting for me. Turkey hunting is probably the most exciting thing that you can do. Where else can you roam around in the woods in the dark with a 12-gauge shotgun and set up and call to birds, call to a wild bird, and shoot them and take them home. We're so lucky to be able to do that and have so much public land here in Florida to be able to do that and experience it. I hope that all of you get out there and give it a try, and don't give up. Stay after it till the very last week, and I hope you get your bird. Okay, so that's today's video. That's this week's turkey hunting video. I'll probably do my next video will probably be from the woods. Let's do a scouting video. How do I scout? Sometimes I don't realize the things I'm doing until I'm doing them. If I kind of document them on the video, well, then it makes a pretty good little video. So let's do that. Let's go scout for some turkeys and find a spot to park, find a spot to set up, find likely spots where birds will roost, and the list goes on and on and on. All right, love you guys. We'll talk to you soon. See ya. Bye.